The rising inflation rates in the UK trouble many residents, but they have not been kind to corporate giants either, as Toto Wolff has spoken out on the matter. Here's what we know. First, the cost cap. Toto Wolff, the team principal of Mercedes, claims that increasing inflation levels have made it even more difficult for the sport's larger Formula One teams to operate under the sport's cost cap constraints. He also agrees that the tighter cap will make it difficult for a team that realizes it has pursued the incorrect approach with the new rules. It has pivoted and created a significantly changed vehicle during the 2022 season. The cost ceiling is reduced from $145 million to $140 million this year, requiring the larger teams to further reduce their personnel levels or shift workers to initiatives outside of F1. Next, a 30-year high for the UK. In January, the annual rate of inflation in the UK climbed to 5.5%, bringing prices to a new 30-year high and driving living costs even higher for people already battling with rising energy bills and mortgage rates. According to the Office for National Statistics, inflation increased from 5.4% in December to 7.5% in April, more than double the Bank of England's objective of 2%. When a 54% increase in energy costs and higher taxes are also factored in, the consequence of this rising rate of inflation has made this situation tougher for Mercedes as it tries to enter the new season. Now, Toto Wolff explaining the difficulties of adjusting. When asked by motorsport.com, he stated that it had been extremely tough to structure the company and the organization in the proper manner in order to achieve the cost ceiling of $140 million. He further stated that in a high inflation climate, they are not only cutting $5 million, but are also unable to grow costs and wages, which has been a pain for them. On the other hand, they must exercise extreme caution when deciding where to direct their R&D dollars. It used to be a little simpler since they could pursue performance through a variety of channels. Now, they must choose which one has the most promise and then work on that one. For large teams, it's a whole new manner of working. In terms of a concept shift, he made it obvious that teams would struggle in such a circumstance. It's one of the few areas where they can actually modify things technically, because sometimes you just go in one direction and that's it, he explained. Then there's the extra strain of the cost cap, which makes it extremely difficult to modify the fundamentals, to completely change the automobile. Because everything is planned, every update and its associated expenditures are scheduled, and as a result, they are considerably more limited in their capacity to execute the creative process onto the automobile due to the budget constraint. Next, car value inflation hits Mercedes commercially. According to Auto Trader statistics, the United Kingdom's record inflation was matched by a 29% year-on-year increase in used car values in January. According to the Retail Price Index study published by the online automotive marketplace, the average price of a car offered on its platform hit £20,340 last week and £4,200 increase in only 6 months. On AutoTrader, the 93rd consecutive week of price rise was attributed to ongoing car supply limitations and high consumer demand. The Seat Alhambra, Ford S-Max, and Renault Grand Scenic were among the top performers. At the other end of the spectrum, nearly new models such as the Cupra Formentor, the Porsche Taycan EV emerged as the most depreciating cars on AutoTrader, albeit by only 2.7% and 5.4% respectively, while the Mercedes-Benz G-Class finished as the platform's worst performer, with a 22.6% drop. According to AutoTrader, an average selling time of just 26 days, a modest decrease from the average 25 days reported in pre-COVID February 2020, was one sign of robust customer demand. It seems that the rising inflation has affected Mercedes in more ways than one. Now in other F1 news, Nikita Mazepin banned? An emergency meeting has been convened for Tuesday to address Nikita Mazepin's spot on the F1 grid, as well as the replaces of all Russian drivers racing in FIA-sanctioned championships. Following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the athletic world has taken a stance. The Champions League final has been shifted from St. Petersburg to Paris, and the country has also been barred from hosting international badminton, swimming, and karate competitions. FIFA and UEFA took a step further on Monday, suspending all Russian teams from international play, with demands on being made for the FIA to do the same. A meeting has been scheduled on Tuesday, which might determine Mazepin's position on the 2022 grid. The 22-year-old Russian driver is the only one on the Formula One grid, with Haas conceding last week that his future was uncertain. On the penultimate day of the Barcelona test, the team took the Uralcali sponsorship from the vehicle, removing the Russian company's insignia from the car, the team gear, and even the trucks. It is unclear whether this marks the end of Haas's contract with Uralcali, which puts Mazepin's spot on the grid in peril because he is in Formula One mostly due to the financial support of his father's firm. However, depending on how Tuesday's meeting goes, neither the F1 team nor the Russian fertilizer firm may have a voice in the matter. Daniil Kvyat on excluding Russian athletes. Excluding Russian athletes from sports because their nation invaded Ukraine is an unfair solution, according to former Formula One driver Daniil Kvyat. The FIA, the sports governing body, will hold an emergency meeting on Tuesday to examine the growing crisis in Ukraine. It will determine if Nikita Mazepin, F1's sole active Russian driver, can participate for his team Haas. This year, Russian Kvyat will race in the World Endurance Championship. According to the 27-year-old, sport should be kept separate from politics, and excluding Russian participations going against what sport teaches with regards to unity and peace. I really hope for a peaceful solution to this situation in Ukraine and that we can all live in peace, says Kvyat. Next, negative reactions surprise Michael Andretti. Michael Andretti has stated that he was taken aback by the unfavorable reaction several Formula One teams had to his aspirations to enter the sport. The American has applied to the FIA to join the F1 grid in 2024, and he hopes to hear back by the end of the next month so he can begin planning. However, although some existing F1 teams feel Andretti's participation in Grand Prix racing would be extremely beneficial, others are a lot less sure. Mercedes CEO Toto Wolff and Red Bull CEO Christian Horner have both stated that in order for Andretti to be accepted, he must demonstrate the benefits to F1 as a whole. Andretti is a name for sure, as Wolff admitted during preseason testing in Barcelona, Spain, and he understands that the American market is significant. However, any team that joins must be accretive, which implies that they must bring value, according to him. Andretti chose a new team after discussing with Alfa Romeo about a takeover fell down at the last minute last year. When he asked what transpired there, Andretti claimed it was difficult to accept the reality. He has also approached Gene Haas about purchasing his Formula One team, but has thus far been unsuccessful. Next, George Russell and Mercedes. George Russell has joined Mercedes, a team that has won a record 8 straight Constructors' Championships and a record equaling 7 drivers' crowns with Lewis Hamilton. But the ex-Williams racer isn't thinking about a first title just yet. The Silver Arrows had a strong preseason performance, finishing second in the distance standings, 392 laps in Ferrari's 439. While Hamilton posted the fastest lap of the Barcelona sessions on day 3, Russell, who did 209 laps over 3 days, was asked if he hoped to win a title with his new squad. He said that he wasn't even thinking about it. He believes it's amazing how racing drivers' minds operate, that when they put on their helmets, it doesn't matter if they're competing for a win or not. And Russell has been battling towards the back of the grid for the past few years, and he always approaches the fight with the same attitude. And he demonstrated this well in Bahrain in 2020, when he raced for Mercedes. For him, that was simply another race. Whether he is out in front or starting on the first row, the approach was the same, the thinking was the same, and the work he put into the event, post-event, was the same. As a result, he prefers to focus on the process rather than on the consequences. That's not to say Mercedes weren't pleased with their own preseason performance in Spain, with trackside engineering director Andrew Sovlin describing it as really satisfying 3 days for the current Constructors' champions, but still keeping watchful of their rivals. Lastly, Franz Tost says rookie drivers struggling with F1 is common. After Yuki Tsunoda stated that he has been working on his fitness ahead of the upcoming season, AlphaTauri team manager Franz Tost noted that some rookie drivers struggle with driving a Formula One vehicle in the beginning. The Japanese driver previously confessed that he was shocked to maintain his place following a difficult year in the sport, in which he was brutally thrashed by Pierre Gasly within AlphaTauri. But his performances did improve toward the conclusion of the season. Tsunoda stated following the conclusion of 2021 that he would prioritize being fitter and stronger during the offseason as he seeks to demonstrate his competitiveness this time around. However, Tost, who has acquired a reputation as a strong coach for rookie drivers joining the sport, claims that the challenge of adjusting rapidly and responding to unexpected or odd happenings in their debut season is far from rare, not least while driving the vehicles themselves. That's a wrap for this video. Should inflation adjustments be a part of the cost cap? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you you in the next one.